you remember your birth. You simply a couple of lines of code came across your vision, system diagnostics, and then your optical sensors came online. A Titan was standing over you, quite a like a tall, kind of wizened, heavily cybernetically augmented looking fellow. Um, he was standing over you with like a terminal, and you were in a factory. Um, Innately, you would know this is, typically where Warforged were built. Um, and you the first thing that you remember after waking up was simply asking for your designation and your orders. You were given them, basically told that you're a command unit, told that you are basically to lead Warforged squadrons in any military engagements, and that's what you did for almost 50 years. 50 years, you you came to know that you were within a um, basically a one of the many Titan nations. The Titan nations were fragmented back then. They fought amongst each other just as much as they fought the Akans. So sometimes you were fighting Akans, sometimes you were fighting other Titans, and sometimes even Warforged of the other nations. But ultimately, you were a strong enough unit. You pulled through. Oftentimes, you were given commands that were, Shift likely would highly disagree with, but you were forced to follow them regardless of how Sophon felt about it. Often, the most common one was simply to execute civilians. Um, and one day, um, one day you lost. One day your squadron was destroyed. Your As normal, you connected your consciousness with each of the units. You experienced dying as each and every one of them until it was just Sophont left. You were fighting Akans, but as kind of the Akans, they like you were damaged and you were unable to fight. The Akans spared you, and you learned that they were surprisingly kind to you, despite what you were, and despite what you'd done, and they knew what you'd done, but they didn't hold it against you. They didn't judge you for it, and eventually, news of the cataclysm reached you. A meteor was coming full fell. There was nothing anyone could do about it. You knew that the Titans would likely. You knew that some nations had developed kind of cryostasis, and that was their plan to survive. Others had banded together and were building basically a giant arc ship. There were a couple of them. There were like several, kind of like a whole flotilla of them. And you eventually would learn that that flotilla would left probably about 1 billion Titans on all of those ships, like across all of them. And yeah, the Akans didn't seem too concerned about it. And eventually you found out why the Akans weren't concerned about it. They had made a pact with a strange entity. You'd heard whispers from Titans about these strange entities that had been kind of trying to exert control over the Overfell, but it wasn't successful. But one of these entities had reached out to the Akans, and it was a younger one of these entities, and it was known as Elvin. And one day, you were simply led out to a large tree right in the center of the kind of the Akan city that you'd come to call home. You gathered up alongside the Aikens, and you came one with the tree. And then you woke up in Eldergrove, and you weren't made of metal, nanites, and plasteel, and artificial materials. You were made of wood and leaves. And as the years passed by, your memories of Fel really faded. Your name from that point hadn't been so font. 5H1FT with shift.